and the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and it is Saturday. And you know what that means? It's time for all the toy news of the week that interested me, that hopefully interests you. And we got a big week of toy news to dive into here. Some follow-ups from last week, a bit of a controversial toy news last week with a very, we'll call it disappointing Power Town update. And unfortunately for everybody watching this, we got more disappointment about Power Town later on in this video. Should be shocking, but probably not. But unfortunately, got some more bad Power Town news to deliver to everybody here in the toy news. And also, towards the back half, old Mr. McFarlane, Todd McFarlane, and I from the couch, a little road trip this week. We got some footage of our road trip, so you'll want to stay tuned for that later in the toy news. But first, got some housekeeping to do. Gotta give a special shout out to Jay'sToysAndGames.com. Use discount code Kyle, save yourself 15% on all in-stock items, as Jay's, of course, the sponsor of the toy news and weekly purchases this week. Shout out to Jay's over there. Tell them Kyle sent you. And like I said, 15% savings. Gotta get a deal. And of course, Patreon, we're nearing the end of August, nearing the end of summer. What are we doing here? My kids go back to school next week, but it is the end of summer and all summertime. We hardly knew you. It went very fast for me and probably you as well. But here we are at the end of August. That means Patreon giveaway. Just a little bit of time left to get in on the G.I. Joe Classified series. Heavy duty. Of course, it is truly heavy duty, like Judas Priest back in the 80s. This is the giveaway this month. And of course, Patreon, your best way to support this YouTube channel. You get early access to everything from this YouTube channel, everything from my other YouTube channel, and my weekly podcast, which is The Kyle Peterson Show. You're going to want to check it out this Tuesday, The Kyle Peterson Show, as we dive into a little bit of Iowa State Fair. That's where we went, my wife Angie and I, and Angie finally got her corn dog, as you can see in the picture. So much more on that, and a whole lot more on The Kyle Peterson Show, the podcast, each and every Tuesday, wherever podcasts are found. Video cast on YouTube, of course. But of course, I was in Hammond, Indiana. You'll hear some of that on the podcast this week as well. Spent some time in Hammond, Indiana. Beautiful this time of year. Few things that grinded my gears, though. One of them being the lack of respect for Terry Funk in that town. Of course, being born in that town, you think there'd be statues on every corner. Not the case. I saw it with my own eyes. But more on that in the podcast once again. But how about we dive into the toy news, and how about we dive into some AEW? We'll start with AEW. No Mattel toy news this week. So they really had a lot of stuff at San Diego Comic-Con. I guess we'll get some more in the future. We'll stay tuned for that. But AEW this week, Unmatched Series 12. We've been unboxing all these on the channel, of course, early for Patreon, as you guys know. But we did get official images from our friends over there at Ringside Collectables of the Ric Flair 1 of 5,000. I'm very happy this is the 1 of 5,000 and not 3,000, because I want to track down one, possibly two of these for my personal collection. So we'll see if we can do that. But he gets the blue robe instead of the pink. I'm here for that all day long. Can't wait to get that. And then John Moxley, obviously a little bit disappointing if you saw the regular Unmatched Series 12. But we do got another one. This one, the 1 of 3,000, which I prefer him as the 3,000 over the 5,000. That's for sure in that one. So a little update there for Unmatched 12. We'll see if we track those down in the future. We'll see what happens there. But now, unfortunately, Todd McFarlane, buckle up. It's time for the Power Town update.
Are you ready for pain? Are you ready for suffering?
All right, time for unfortunate Power Town update once again. Man, we wish them well, but man, they make it very, very hard. Now, of course, we did do a deep dive last week into a lot of the recent shenanigans. Check out that video for more on the story if you don't know it. But a lot of drama with Power Town, and that's been the case since day one, and we've been preaching it since day one here. Seemingly, a lot of people have come around to the Power Town shenanigans, but it took a lot of people a long time to figure out what's going on here, as there was definitely clear signs from the get-go that you really couldn't look past, but here we are now just waiting, holding the bag, hoping we're going to get our products, and I'm not so sure of that. Now, Greg Gagne's interview last week sent a lot of craziness out there into the old interwebs. Of course, getting a big signal boost from this podcast or this video cast. Toy news, you know what I'm saying. Got a nice signal boost from the major pod over there, Matt Cardona, and I got to say, I listened to the major pod this week. Matt Cardona, spot on. I guess him and I sharing a brain on this situation a little bit here. It's just very disappointing where all this is going. And I'll tell you guys right now, Greg Gagne, you're in Minneapolis area. I'm not too far from there. I need to get up there for business here the next couple of months. Let's break bread. Let's go to dinner. Let's go to Red Savoy Pizza. I'll pay. I'll pay for the pizza, but we can have a one-on-one sit down. And I have no beef with anybody. I want my money. I want my figures, of course. But I'll hear them out. I'll hear Powertown, and I'll ask the tough questions. And I'm open to meeting with Greg Gagne up there, if that is a thing. That just seems ridiculous saying it. It seems like meeting with Todd McFarlane. Just ridiculous. But it happens every week. You're on my couch. But Greg Gagne, you want a spot on the couch? Todd will move over. Come on down here. Come down, and we can sit down, and you can be a guest on my podcast. We'll do a long-form podcast. Be a friendly room. We'll just ask the tough questions and just have the easy answers. I mean, that should be as simple as that. So if Greg Gagne wants to sit down with me, we can do it person to person. I'm game. I'm game for it, but we'll see what ends up happening there. But probably not going to happen after his last interview. I have to think the rest of the Powertown team said, Greg, let's hold the reins here. We're getting a little bit off the radar there. And one of the big things I talked about last week that I don't know if enough people picked up on, and I am extremely concerned about this even more this week with the news I'm going to share to you here. But I talked about the factories. Now, any factory over there in China or wherever, any factory in the United States, in China, Japan, wherever the factory may be, if you don't pay for your figures in this instance, guess what? They're not just going to hold your stuff and hope you pay. They'll give you some leeway depending on your relationship with them. But eventually, if you do not pay for the product you had them build, guess what? They're going to find their money one way or the other. And we've seen this with other companies. The Megalopolis Premium DNA debacle from a year ago, I guess still going on technically. I think it was the Earthworm Jim figures that the factory said, okay, you're not going to pay me for them? Well, we're going to get some money. And they dump them out to sellers who then sell them on the Temus, AliExpresses of the world, and so forth. So there is precedent for this. There's precedent for this in a lot of different things, not just action figures. Now, that is one huge concern coming off the Greg Gagne interview that I have with Powertown is they're not going to hold these figures forever. And he said he's got to pay this big bill to get these figures out. Who knows what was accurate in that? But that does concern me because that factory is probably like, time's ticking, Mr. Gagne. You got another week. And can they make the payment in that week? And if they don't, could we see these on the AliExpresses and Temus of the world? Now, I know a lot of people are saying no, or obviously I'm saying I hope not because I want to get what I paid for. And if they do go there, do we get reimbursed? We left holding the bag? That's what I have a feeling. I feel a feeling we're out our money, unfortunately, and out the figures. And then we have an opportunity to buy the figures again if we want to, but not with our original money. That just smells like disaster all over it. But what makes me concerned, and I felt I was a little bit more positive last week than I am this week, because this week I did a little research. I did a little internet sleuthing around. I said, I better check out the Temu. I better check out the AliExpress. And now they took my credit card info. Oh man, what are we doing? But I don't think so. But maybe, who knows? We'll find out in the future when my credit monitoring alerts me, I guess. But I did search on AliExpress this week, and unfortunately I searched Powertown over there, and what came up? Luckily, no Powertown figures yet. However, there was a lot of Powertown shirts. Now, a lot of people maybe do not know that Powertown, Boomerang, Relatively Worldwide, whatever you want to call it, they signed these Legends deals to these guys for action figures, but also image and likeness for t-shirts and mugs and other properties, other things like that. And one of those big ones has been t-shirts. The website, what is it, 80s Tees? You probably get spam for them all the time like I do. They sell product over there. Well, unfortunately, you go to AliExpress. What's on AliExpress? Tons of the Powertown t-shirt merchandise. Now, did that illegally get there? Did Powertown start selling through AliExpress, which seems extremely strange when you're selling through 80s Tees and so forth? Or, unfortunately, did they leave a factory, a t-shirt factory in this instance, with the bill, and now they all got dumped over to AliExpress to get their money because these shirts are way cheaper over there than they are from 80s Tees. So I am extremely nervous that they didn't pay their bill in this example for these t-shirts, so they all got dumped. Now, are we going to see this? Once again, going back to the figures, which we're all most concerned about, could we see this happen in the future? Man, I hope not. But really, I'm feeling really rough about this. I'm feeling very nervous for the next month or so. We'll see where it goes, but I wanted to put that info out there this week. And I also got a few different people that reached out to me with an email saying, hey, Kyle, I got this email back from Magnum, and Magnum is making promises that we should see the TNA and Ultras by Thanksgiving. That's what he's saying now. That is what has been out in email to some people, and saying that the Remco should be here anytime now. But we've been hearing anytime since February. I think originally October last year, then February. so forth, so forth. Then I think we heard, what was it? Was it June? That they were going to be here by air. That didn't happen. Now they're saying any time. What is time anymore? We say that all the time, but jokingly, what is time with Powertown? Any time could be in the next 2 years. Could be 2027 at this point. But Magnum also said the Ultra's in the TNA for November. I don't know. I don't know what to believe at this point. It is just a scary situation for everybody. And I think it hurts all toy companies out there because some of these smaller companies are making amazing figures, but it's going to hurt the average Joe who gets burned by this Powertown situation to say, I don't want to dive into this. I don't want to. I'm going to wait and hope these things come in stock. I'll spend an extra $5 or whatever instead of you having my money for years at a time. I don't know. It's a dangerous, dangerous precedent. It's a dangerous ground. It's a weird situation. The only answer is, of course, a conspiracy.
You ever wonder if they're watching your every move? Cell phones, internet, surveillance. Think about it.
And at this point, I've been saying that for years, but it truly feels like there is more than meets the eye, like a young Transformers. There's a lot going on. And of course, their warehouse down in like Mobile, Alabama down there, where everything ships from, they're dumping all Powertown figures at $29.99, trying to get whatever they can, which goes against what Greg Gagne said in the interview last week. So many shenanigans, so little time. We're going to keep our fingers crossed. We'll stay abreast, and I'm always staying abreast, Todd McFarlane, of the situation. We'll see where it goes from there. But how about we move into a little bit happier toy news here with some of the retro companies. We'll start off with TRT, Title Run Toys. We've been unboxing those on the channel. We unboxed Series 1 already, so check out those reviews if you missed it. But they did announce this week the Beverly Brothers coming. Weren't they the Minnesota Destruction Crew or the Destruction Crew or something like that in the AWA? Can we get a variant? Can we get those? That reminds me of my ESPN time as a little kid after school. But we do got the Beverly Brothers coming. That makes a lot of sense. I'm here for that. Just need a genius to go along with them. Hopefully we'll see that in the future too. But Title Run Toys coming in with Series 2. Pre-order should be very soon, so we'll stay tuned for that. Another company that keeps hammering it out, KWK Ox Bakers, about ready to ship. A little bit of a delay at the factory. It sounded like another 7 to 10 days. Not the end of the world when we're talking Powertown and another one here shortly that's given us years delays at this point. So KWK getting us that Ox Baker. Cannot wait to see that. The Master of the Heart Punch. Watch out for that. Pre-order going on right now. Matt Maniac's Nerd Closet started Friday as I'm filming this. It is the Legion of Doom, aka the Road Warriors, in their black gear. A repaint of the first one makes a lot of sense. You can order that right now. It will ship with Series 2, which is supposed to be later this year. Can't wait to check those out and can't wait to get that in hand. I like those figures a whole lot, as you guys saw when we unboxed them on the channel. Figure collections, we've started unboxing the latest wave of that. They've been on Patreon for a while. We'll get them all on traditional YouTube eventually. As you guys know, the weekly purchases the last 3 weeks have been so heavy. Can't get everything out there. That's why Patreon is so important to some people, as you get the videos much earlier than traditional YouTube. But figure collections, 2-pack of the Hardy Boys, looking amazing. Can't wait to get those in hand here and unboxed on the channel as well. But we saw the prototype images of those this week. We also saw an interesting note, Josh Chernoff, and of course we unboxed his figure on the channel a long time ago, a couple years ago maybe. He is coming out with retro figures via My Fandom, a new retro wrestling figure line, but it is going to focus on indie talent. Now that could be a really good thing or a really bad thing, because obviously indie talent doesn't have the name of a Macho Man Randy Savage, let's be honest. However, maybe they do a little limited run. It's for shows around that independent area, friends and family members of the performer. Maybe they can make something successful of that as a little bit of a run, so we'll see where that goes. But no pictures, no images, anything like that, but we'll stay tuned to it in the future. But My Fandom throwing their hat in the retro line, which is a very crowded market, as we do know, but we'll see where that ends up going. And then, of course, speaking of retros, Latoony, their cartoon stars, Ric Flair ×2 and Randy Macho Man Savage coming at us very soon. Also a video game around this. So that's an interesting twist that we haven't seen before, but an iOS video game. Now, I'm not a gamer of any kind, but I guess that's a mobile game, I guess, on your phone. But it'll be interesting to see how these Toon Stars do, and I think they're going to add to this line as well. And I really like it, but you can only collect so much. So we'll have to see. I'll have to see some more details. We'll see where that ends up going. But an interesting plot twist with Latoony. So many retro companies in the game, and we said it a couple of years ago. they all can't stay in the game. Somebody's going to have to leave. And we saw a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 of the companies did eject, like I thought. Have to think in the end of this year or in 2026, we're going to see another couple of retro companies fall to the wayside. It's just there's too much going on. There's too much burnout. I don't know what company it'll be at this point, but I think something will happen, or we'll see a merger of some kind. Something's got to give at this point. There's only so many dollars to go around. And your dollar's not going as far as it once did for these kind of things. So we'll see. We'll stay tuned to it as well. We also saw Ringside Collectibles. Use code Kyle. Save yourself 10%, of course. Minix? I don't know. These little action figures here. We got Cody Rhodes, The Rock, Rey Mysterio, John Cena, Roman Reigns, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Not really for me, honestly, there. But if you're into things like this, they are available at Ringside right now. So check those out if that is something you're into there. And then I did mention another company waiting a long time for. We've periodically given some updates, and we aren't as hardcore on them as Power Town, in all honesty. That's what I always say every time we talk about them on the Toy News. It is the Asylum Toys All-Stars figures Series 2. Now, we're looking at 2 years since the pre-order went up on that one. So they are beating Power Town to the pre-order punch for length, that's for sure. But not as many people have obviously ordered those as they have Power Town. And the other thing that Asylum, say what you want about it, you can reach out to them and they will refund your money. I've heard that from multiple people. They got refunded immediately. So that is something. There at least is communication with this company, but still no updates here. I have to think, like anything else, Price sells cars. They don't have the pre-orders. They don't have enough to meet their minimum requirements. I don't think anybody's adding to the order. They're not pushing it anymore, but there's shenanigans going on. And I just don't know if these are ever going to come out. So we'll see what ends up happening. But Asylum, it's not a good look, obviously, with going 2 years here. And once again, just like Power Town, I don't envision anybody putting down their hard-earned money for a pre-order in the future from that company or Power Town, unfortunately. And that'd be one of the questions I'd ask Greg Gagne is, okay, you're going to get all this delivered, like you say. What's the future hold? How can you go to a pre-order model? There's no way you possibly can. It'd be very interesting to hear what he would say and what would come out of his mouth for that. So we'll see where that all ends up going. Whoa, stop the clock. Late breaking news as I was filming the Toy News. It looks like next week on Mattel Creations, the latest retro wave going up for sale. Finally going to get me that Ultimate Warrior retro, even though we've had one in the past. I'm always here for one. Of course, Harley Race, Bobby Heenan, nothing to sneeze at. And Virgil, good to go with your Ted DiBiase. So a little bit of a mix there, but going up on Mattel Creations next week, the latest and greatest WWE Mattel Retro Wave. That is the wrestling news this week, but as Jerry Reed always says, all right, we continue on with some toy news outside of wrestling, and we're going to start off with a little Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, of course, from NECA. We got 2 new figures listed this week, and the first one is Nobody. Yep, that's his name, Nobody, but man, he looks pretty good. I do like the looks of this one. Soft goods cape, you had me at soft goods. And then a kind of blacked out figure looks very, very cool. We'll see how that goes. We also saw Raphael as Shredder, and I believe we saw both of these, of course, at San Diego Comic-Con 2025, but pre-order up right now if that is your thing. We also got some good news, depending how you look at it. The Snake Layer has funded via Mattel Creations. Now it's trying to get to that 8,000 price point for the next tier. I honestly don't think that's going to happen. Mattel and the Masters have always struggled with some of those tiers and stuff. Some people got the Lady Slither, which was nice. I jumped in on that there. I wanted to support this. I got to say, out of all the things, I was a lot more excited for Attorney, as I think most people probably were. But it'll be interesting to see where this Snake Layer goes and what the future for the Masters brand does hold. But we know what the future holds next week for Mattel Creations. Masterverse, of course, Mossman. We saw him at San Diego Comic-Con going up for order. I'm very excited about this one. I love a hairy bipedal creature, especially a green one. I'm here for Mossman, a big deluxe figure from the Masterverse. Pre-order, or I guess the order, starts next Monday over at Mattel Creations. And if you wear a cowboy collared shirt, guess what? You put on your finest Kenny Rogers Western wear, you get first to the line access at Club Grayskull. It's true, Todd McFarlane. It's a true story. So check out Masterverse, check out Mossman on Mattel Creations this Monday. Mondo back in the game, and a game I had to jump out of, unfortunately. It's the X-Men, of course, Mondo figures. X-Men 97, to be more specific. Mr. Sinister going up for order next week. Man, oh man, I'll have to admire from afar once again. Just can't collect it all, and something had to give, especially with these new Mondo price points. Had to drop out of the X-Men line, unfortunately. I might dabble if something really cool comes up, but I'm going to have to be content with the team I got right now. That's the way it goes. You can't get it all, as we do say. But speaking of hairy bipedal creatures, once again, How about this time we go over to Loose Collector? Of course, Loose Collector, Mr. Hyde we unboxed on the channel, but they've been showing their Bigfoots, they've been showing off their Yetis, but they got a new one, and his name is Skookum. Doesn't sound very intimidating to me. It sounds like what Todd McFarlane calls his wife, his little Skookum, I believe is what she calls him, or he calls her. But apparently, he's the most violent Bigfoot, and he's a black fur. So we get a brown fur, a white fur, and a black fur. All the Bigfoot colors of the rainbow, I guess, on this one. But Loose Collector is going to be selling that one. Part of me wants to get all three. I love a hairy bipedal creature. I love a Bigfoot, so I might buy all three of these. I'm a sucker. I'm a sucker at the end of the day. And speaking of suckers, Figura Obscura, of course, Mythic Legions and that whole thing. Sounds like as you're watching this, unless you're a Patreon member, it's already up for order right now. It is going to be maybe Bigfoot, maybe the Jersey Devil. We're not exactly sure. So maybe more on that next week. But as you're watching this, if you're watching this on Saturday or Sunday, depending on your watching schedules, and you should watch it immediately as posted, of course. But it sounds like it's going to be the Jersey Devil is kind of what the rumors are. We'll see where it goes. But I'm here for cryptids in the Legion style. I'm here for that. So we'll see what we think about that here in the future. But now we got to turn our attention here to Todd McFarlane from the couch. And Todd and I were on the road this week. Todd knew I had a long 6.5 hour drive or so to one Hammond, Indiana. Semi-beautiful this time of year is what we agreed on, Todd. Semi-beautiful. Not the best, not the worst, of course. But we had the long drive together, and it was quite the time going on the road there. The one weird thing, though, was, Todd, you had control of the radio. Todd said, I'm only coming with you to keep you company if I get control of the radio. And I'm like, all right, fine. So I gave in. I got a couple of songs in. When we have to stop, we had to stop at like every rest stop. I don't know why you wanted to stop at all these rest stops. We couldn't stop at a gas station. It had to be the rest stops, but we stopped at about every one along the way. So when he was doing his thing, whatever that thing was at these rest stops, and it was weird you were going to these rest stops with no socks or shoes on. That's a dangerous thing. You're just looking for athlete's foot at the end of the day there. But I would listen to my music. But Todd, I didn't know this about you, and I'm going to tell everybody. I'm going to tell everybody your secrets here, Todd. But you're a huge Kenny Rogers fan, which you've never talked about. And I wear these Kenny Rogers Western shirts from the 80s. I'm a big fan of the Kenny Rogers Western shirts. Not so much the Kenny Rogers music, but the Western shirts. Chef Kiss, I'm here for that. Carbon brand, of course, with Kenny Rogers going in there. But Todd, you love Kenny Rogers music. However, in the 6.5 hour drive, he made me listen to one Kenny Rogers song on repeat. And most people would say, oh, The Gambler. And maybe somebody would say Lady. I wouldn't say Lady, but I'd say The Gambler if you were going to ask one, because that's easily his best song. I'm not a big Kenny Rogers guy, of course. But it was Making Music for Money, and I think we got a little clip of that. Todd loves making music for money, but he makes his music for me. And that's your motto. That's what you were trying to tell me. This really speaks to your life and everything. And I understand that a little bit because, like, I do this YouTube channel and I do most of these videos for me. I hope you guys enjoy them, but it's fun for me. And that's what Todd said. That's what defines your career, is what you said. You're making the music for money, but you make your music for me. And that's what Todd does there. And that's a deep cut Kenny Rogers song for sure. Jimmy Buffett sang that. I actually knew the Jimmy Buffett version. I didn't know Kenny had that version. But wild times with Mr. McFarlane on the road. But as we're driving down the road, we were stopping at a few Walmarts and stuff along the way. And I had this bright idea. And I came to Todd. I said, Todd, we're driving down. I said, Todd, we should do something here. You know what? Instead of me explaining, I should just roll the video. Don't you think, Todd? I recorded some of that. Yeah, so we got a little video here. Todd, I got a great idea. We're in Ottawa, Illinois on our road trip to Indiana. We should stop at this Walmart, of course, and see what they got. But Todd, I think while we're here, you should film a little video where you're telling people where we can find the McFarlane stuff. I keep hearing confusion out there all over the place. People are confused. I think you can set them straight inside here. Let's go in. Let's go into this Walmart. Let's get it done. All right, Todd, what I'm thinking is you get here, you show this kind of stuff. You say, this is where we've been for a long time, but then we're going to move to the other area, and we're going to show where we're at right now. I think something like that. Make it how you want to. Make it your own, Todd. Walmart store here. Want to bring you some exciting news here. For the past 3 decades, that's it, 30 years, we've had all of our toys sitting in the Walmart boys action figure aisle. But starting now, they're going to be moving us to the entertainment section. You can see it up on the wall. If you walk around your Walmart store, you can see the big word entertainment. That's where the video games and the records, but more importantly, the big giant TV screens are. So go walk to the TVs,
search around, you're going to see the toy section there. That's where all the McFarlane collectibles are going to be. They have a collectible section over there. Let's walk over there and let me show you what it looks like.
All right, Todd, then we'll show them over here. We'll show them everything. This is where the collector's set is. Nobody likes that toy aisle anymore. It's all about over here. It's about the CDs, the vinyl, the electronics, where you see the TVs. Really point out the TVs. That's key. Point out, if you see the TVs, you see the McFarlane. So do something like that. That's what we want in the video. You can do it.
Each store is a little bit different, but as you can see here very quickly, you can see there's the TVs. Just look for the TVs. And more importantly, above the TVs, you see the word entertainment. And then we'll come down here. This is where they have a lot of the collectibles now, right? From time to time, we'll have end caps, right? Like we do here with the Superman one. But as you can see here, they've got toys here on this side and on this side, right? And so you can see here, we've got the Super Friends, some of the McFarlane stuff, we've got the Marvel, we've got some of the Move Maniac stuff that's up over here. On the other side, we've got our DC Multiverse, we've got our anime figures that we've done, and we've got our Spawn and our extra one. So anything you're looking for, McFarlane toys related, moving forward at Walmart, go to the entertainment section because that's where you're going to find all the cool stuff that we got coming out. Hope to see you there soon.
So a lot of people saw that video this week on Todd's Instagram account, all the other social media spots and stuff. But that was our idea quick from the road this week. And I wish I would have been in the video, or at least a plug for the site, but Todd didn't want to. And I thought it was really smart of me as a director to say, man, make sure you point out the TVs. Point out the TVs, Todd. And Todd did that in that video. So that was a good work by Todd. Outside of Ottawa, Illinois, and we got in that huge argument because you said the only Ottawa is up in Canada. I said, no, man, Illinois got one, and they got a Walmart right here. Didn't believe me, all that, but we filmed that in beautiful Ottawa, Illinois. Shout out to Ottawa, Illinois. So a lot of fun on the road this week. Learned a lot about each other, Todd and I, as we deepen our bond, and I didn't think it was possible. Didn't think it was possible, but blood brothers, so we'll just leave it at that. But Todd, not a lot of news from you this week outside of our little commercial, whatever you want to call it. We did hear about DC Rebirth Batman McFarlane store exclusive. Is what it is, Todd. Soft goods cape now, though, and it does fit in the Batmobile, for those wondering. So we got that coming. We also saw Batman, the animated series, Harley Quinn Joker 2-pack, if anybody's still into that line there. I had to bail on that line. I think my dad's going strong on that line, too. I haven't had an update lately, but he was collecting those figures, so we'll see. But that is the toy news this week. Some shocking news from Power Town with the AliExpress, and then, of course, Todd and I on the road. That's the biggest news of the week, I would say. But a few other things. A little bit slow as we finish off summer. I'm sure a lot of these toy companies and people have a little vacation going on. I wouldn't know anything about vacation, especially with my work-life balance. There's no such thing as vacation anymore. Vacation? Who needs it? Throw away those PTO days. You don't want them anyways. That's the life I live. But hopefully you're living that good summer life as we're nearing the end of summer. See what fall and the holidays bring to us. But what are you excited for with the toy news this week? Anything that made you extra excited? What do you think about these Power Town shenanigans? Will we ever see these figures? Are we going to have to buy them off of Temu or AliExpress or something? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Of course, you made it this far. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Turn your old notification bell on. Of course, you got 2 YouTube channels with content every single day for you. Then you got YouTube channel memberships and Patreon if you want to support this channel and all the hard work it brings. It's hard work driving the road. 14 hours a total round trip in a car with Todd. You can imagine it. You can imagine it. So a lot of fun, though, of course. And then, of course, SirPaul64 on the X, _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, Instagram, TikTok, and, of course, TheKylePetersonShow at gmail.com. My podcast each and every week. My wife, Angie, and I break it all down every single Tuesday. You don't want to miss this episode this Tuesday. Watch out for that one. Corn dogs for everybody. That's what we're going to say there. But check out The Kyle Peterson Show wherever podcasts are found, with, of course, video cast on YouTube, nearing the 25th episode there. We're going to do a special Q&A event, so check out that and be a part of that, and we'll probably do a giveaway around that as well to thank everybody for their support so far. So there it is, another week of the toy news. You know what I'm doing. I'm rocking and rolling, strutting and strolling my way into another weekend.
Well, are we going to dance or are we going to play?